What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Karsatowski, and welcome back to the Karsatowski Bowling YouTube channel. So in today's PBA Bowling Breakdown, we have the 2003 PBA Days in Open. So let's get on to the title match. Alright, here's the title match of the 2003 PBA Days in Open, featuring Chris Barnes versus Parker Bone III. I don't know if I've ever seen any of these two in a title match before together. At this time, Chris Barnes, I think, only had about 3 or 4 titles, I think. But he had, I think, at least 25 step-ladder finals, I think. And this would have been probably his 6th year on the tour, probably. And Parker Bone III already had well more than 20 titles at this point, with 1 major. And both go high, basically leaving the same leave for a left-hander and a right-hander version, so both of them get their not-so-good shots out of the way early on in this match. Oh my goodness, he chops that. My goodness. You don't see Parker Bone III doing that very often. Okay, so Chris probably has a little bit of an overall advantage, especially with spares by match play numbers. And Parker goes light that time, getting away with not leaving double wood. You know, at this time, Parker, I believe, only had 1 or 2 kids at this time in 2003. His oldest son isn't really that involved with bowling, but Justin, Brandon, and Sydney, if I had to guess, I would say that Justin is probably 22 or so, so he was actually being born around this time. I think Brandon's 21, so he was born 2004. And then Sydney, I guess she's probably like 19 or 20 or something like that. That's a great shot from Chris Barnes, by the way. So yeah, so most of Parker's kids are, at this time, are really just being born or not quite born yet. So yeah, and then obviously of how we know the Bone family nowadays is that you have 4 boned bowlers, and they're all are pretty accomplished in their own rights. Oh, that goes a little light, and it trips a 7-pin. That's a really good hit right there. That's a very comforting hit when your ball goes a little bit light, and it still trips out a 7-pin for right-hander. You know, a lot of the money for a standard event, such as this one, is right about the same. Oh, Parker goes light, carries a 10-pin. So they're both getting pretty mirrored hits right now, for the most part. At least 2 out of 3 shots. So again, the money for the top 5 during this time for a standard event is actually very similar. It's actually very similar to what it is now, which, considering that this is 2003 and, you know, we're in 2025 and a lot of standard events are like 25 and $30,000 and $40,000 for first place for most standard events on the PBA Tour, you can definitely see that there's something a bit wrong with the prize funds in bowling. And to be completely honest, there needs to be some kind of seismic change in our sport to really boost the earnings that the players get. Because these guys are bowling full time for a living, and they need a little bit more compensation than just 40 grand for a standard event. It needs to be more closer to at least 100 grand for a standard event like this, and I think it needs to be at least $250,000 for a major event. And obviously it shouldn't stay that way, but I think for a start, that's about where it needs to go. And then obviously pay a bit more during the cashers round and the match play portions for the bowlers who don't make it to TV. Like the highest bowler not making it to TV is still making 5 figures in a tournament. That would be nice. Oh. So Chris Barnes and Sean Rash are the 2 players on the PBA Tour that are most well known for doing that. I do not do that very often. If I do that, it's usually within like the first 1 or 2 steps. And Chris did it just about in his slide. So that's perfect. So that's a turkey for Chris. So he's definitely got the best look right now.
Well, let's see. This is the wild card match, and this is where Chris Barnes was playing against people. Right around in between.
Look at that hit. Perfect. Yep. That's back-to-back shots on that right lane. There's another one that looks similar to the right lane, but yeah, that lane looks like it's hooking just a tiny bit more, but I think he missed in a little bit on this shot. Yeah. Good count. He's got a pretty good advantage anyway, so going for that split really was not his plan to go with. Yeah, Parker would need to get a double here to cut the deficit by 10. Looks like he missed in on that lane again. Yeah, so both of them really need to get their bowling balls to, I'd say, at least 2 boards to either side of the furthest tracer down the lane. So for Parker, that's going to be his break point about 7 or 8 on the left side, and Chris about 7 or 8 on the left side. So again, they're basically both playing about mirrors of each other. If both of them were right-handed or left-handed, then they both would pretty much be playing right about on top of each other.
Very good year. 7 top 10s. Very good shape. Gets to the round of 16s. Skip qualifying at the season ending World Championship.
There we go. That lane on that side for Parker seems to be pushing a little bit more, but I think he even got that one left. But great hit. He's getting some good pin carry, though, even though that he hasn't really gone flush in the pocket.
That's not good. That's how much trouble Parker's having to get the ball to face the 1-2 pocket. This ball has been perfect on this lane. How does he respond?
There you go.
Very well, thank you.
That's a good hit. A lot of these players are going light, and they're getting the good carry for it.
We mentioned Parker is not one. He's not been on a USA TV.
Slinging wood all over the place. March to the World Championship. Top 8 qualify automatically into round of 16. There's a lot of names on that list right there who are no longer on the tour anymore.
25,000 points on the line of the win. $40,000. On the left of the TV pair.
It's a good one. That's a good adjustment from last time.
The Barnes on the left is here. Fleming watched her husband all get knocked out. Twins are being taken care of by a sitter back home. Flower Mound. Just said it's been quite an adjustment coming home, being home all week in his own bed. Got to take care of the Twins now. That's a big difference from being on tour. Takes a few days to get reacclimated to that hectic life. How does the 9 not go down?
I thought that was pretty decent. Let's take a look here. So yeah, he gets it just about right over that marker. And then it still goes light. I don't know if that may have been just a little fast, or maybe he just needs to get a little bit left of that, because there's probably a little bit of hold right where he threw that shot. So maybe a couple boards left and it would respond more.
Chris Barnes continues to focus. Parker took a couple of weeks. He told us
One of the things that is noticeably different in the PBA back at this time as compared to now is look at the sponsor differences. Well, Parker got distracted by something. See, look at the sponsors back there. Jackson Hewitt, you saw Geico on the wall over there. Let's see if we can find an Odor Eater, Dexter, Days In, Miller Lite. Let's see if we can find some more. Oh, that's pretty much about the same hit. So Parker's moves is going to be a little bit different than Chris's because Parker's got some hold on either lane. But yeah, but look at the sponsors on the national tour 22 years ago and look at them today. The big difference is that I feel like there was a lot more sponsors back then in the PBA, but also the companies that sponsor the PBA back then are much more notable than the ones we have today. Like, those are all big name brands, like names that instantly jump out at you. But a lot of the companies that sponsor the PBA today, not really that many people has heard of. Like, how many people have heard of John's Crazy Socks, or Pilgrim's Chicken, or a handful of others, like Pabst Blue Ribbon? Like, they're just not the same punchy type sponsors like Miller Lite, Budweiser, Geico even, or Motel 6, or Denny's, or Lumber Liquidators. It's just not quite the same. And I think to get a lot more money on the tour now, we really, really need to get the big name sponsors back. And anyway, Chris just threw another great shot on that left lane, and I think that's going to do it.
He is a champion. So you guys think it's over, don't you? Parker has some fun with the crowd.
Yeah, Parker's look is just real wonky on that TV pair. It looks like he's got a lot of oil that's carried down on both lanes, and maybe he just needed to move a little bit left and square up, but I don't know. But there's too much of Chris Barnes in this match.
Just to make a mark, let alone strike. Just a terrible bar reaction. Chris Barnes making the shots he needs to make.
So Parker will have to wait another tournament to get to 30 titles. So basically from like 2003 to 2015, he won like 6 titles, I guess.
After the outcome has been determined.
I guess I kind of underestimated how much he won in like the 90s,
19 mile
like the late 80s, and throughout the entire 90s. Parker Bone was making the championship round in every other event. And then in the early 2000s, he had a lot of success too, and he really started to slow down quite a bit from for like 5 or 6 years. And then like in the 2010s, he had a resurgence by winning 2 of his 3 career majors. Okay, I was gonna say, if he doesn't carry that, then his look is a little worse than I thought it would be.
Dave Ryan is going to move into the number 2 spot
Now victory lap.
to the World Championships. Number 2 in points. Who's going to be
Yeah, Pepsi's another brand. Pepsi has been a long-time sponsor for bowling, and you just don't see it much on the national tour anymore.
As Parker told us last night, final few events, chance to make some noise, including the season-ending World Championship outside Detroit. Special moment for Chris Barnes. Win just a few minutes from his home here in suburban Dallas.
The camera angles at this time were also a little bit odd. You had a lot of direct rear shots also. And to be honest, I don't know if that would necessarily look great today.
2001, Chris Barnes, a PBA champion again.
I'm not real sure if it would look too good today. I mean, it was interesting for this time, but I don't really think look to go back to that. Oh, that was only his 4th title.
The happy man of the hour is
At this time, he honestly probably should have had like 8 or 9.
from a big champion. Chris Barnes
And there's a Pepsi.
wins there with Linda.
That's Ryan and Troy Barnes. They were probably a year and a half to 2 years old at this time.
This has got rough.
And Ryan won Rookie of the Year this year. That's fun looking back at how young Parker's kids and Chris's kids were during that time. Well, that is the title match of the 2003 PBA Days Inn Open, with Chris Barnes being the winner of that match. It's interesting because at that time, Chris had like 25 step-ladder finals, and he was on tour for probably like 5 or 6 years at that time. So he very well easily could have won about 8 or 9 titles during that time, but that just shows you on his early TV struggles and how it would carry with him throughout the rest of his career. But anyway, so if you all have enjoyed this video, then be sure you give it a like. And also, if you don't want to miss any videos just like this, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are approaching 700 subscribers, and I'd like to hit 700 within about the next week or 2, so I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button to get to 700 subscribers. So anyway, I'm Karsatowski. Keep watching my content, and I will see you in that next video. See ya.